See, some people burst, but I thrive under pressure. I hold them down from distance like I was playing catcher. I pray to God, life is crazy, you know he'll test you. For real. Yeah, you know he'll test you. I'm a living legend in the making, don't care what you think about it. The only time I step inside a bank is for deposit. Failure's always present, but for me it's not an option. Cause I gotta feed my family and I know the critics watch. They don't want to see you win, so they gon' try to stop it. A humble guy until you cross that line, then I'ma pop it. Choking out the competition on my Sergi Baca. Don't associate with lame haters, they are all imposters. See, some people. Oh, guys, welcome to episode 8 of The Process Show. Your host, DeAndre Presley, co-host, Keani Stevens, and today we have a very awesome guest, Mr. Marcelo. I'm going to butcher it, but just forgive me right now, Picarillo?
No, you just call him Cello. Just Piccolo.
I go says Cello.
How do you say it? How do you pronounce it?
That's all right. That's the American way. I'm good with it.
Wait. How do you pronounce it? How do you pronounce your last name?
Well, the Italian way would be Piccirillo, but you would have to do it with that accent. Yeah, very good. Pretty good.
The pronunciation of his name depends where he is in the country. Like I had a friend named Aniel Bonachea. He's Hispanic, but when we were in Texas and we'd get pulled over, they go, "What's your name?" He goes, "It's Bonachea. I'm Italian." And then when we get back,
it's interesting. Whenever I give presentations, I go, "So my name is Marcelo," the Spanish version. But if you think I'm from Canada or French, you can call me Marcel. If you think I'm from Italy, which I'm third generation, you can call me Marcello or Cello. So it's funny. So I go by Cello.
Cello. I like it, man. I like it. Man, it's so great to have you on the Process Show. I know we got a chance to talk a little bit before the show, and it was a really, really great conversation. Just, a lot of what I got from our conversation was a lot of mental the mental work that somebody has to do in order to be successful. And I love it, man. So we're going to dive in and Cello.
That was his passive aggressive way to tell me I was late.
It was.
Yeah, I talked to you before the show because it was only me and you. I don't know what the other guy was.
They didn't know that. They didn't know that.
Okay.
That was on purpose. That was on purpose, so we can get the flow going on, how we're connected, and we are indeed connected.
But yeah, man,
I really love the concept of your show, which is a process, which I really completely identify.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, Cello, can you tell us a little bit about you? Where you from?
Sure. So I'm from Argentina. I'm not going to say my age, but it's over 50. And I came to this country, this beautiful country, 26 years ago, looking for a better future for myself and especially my two beautiful daughters. Mm-hmm. They're 28 and 23. One is conquering the world, one smile at a time in Amsterdam. And the other one is doing the same thing, one chord at a time. She's a bass guitar player in a rock band in New York. So I'm by training originally first career a physician, a doctor, a surgeon. And I've been doing that for 33 years. The last 25, I've been doing what's called clinical research, which is helping pharmaceutical companies to develop their products. That's my first career. My longtime career is trying to inspire others by the example. It started by me trying to inspire my daughters to be the best version of themselves that they could be and chase their dreams, but then also to go beyond what is expected, like acting, modeling, inspiring others, in the sense of getting fit. Because of being a physician, because of working out for 40 years, I'm all into fitness and wellness and the scientific part of it. So by having people looking at me and seeing, you know, how much I do it, how hard I'm going at it, and the results. So then I'm inspired the people next to me, who then will inspire the next people and the next people. And so that's the idea, inspire by example. And I told you before that when I asked the question, why are you doing this? And the response is, why not?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's stopping you? Just yourself. So in a nutshell, that's who I am, and that's why I'm here, and having the pleasure of be talking to you guys today.
Man, I love it. I love it.
What inspired you to be a doctor in the first place? Because when did that thought of being a doctor, a healthcare provider, come into your head? At what age, and then what pushed you into pursuing that career?
That's a very, very good question. So originally, I was in between being an architect. I always like to draw and do things with my hands, and a doctor, because my mom always talked about, you know, how much she would like me to be a doctor. Made me decide to be a doctor was actually to be a surgeon, because in a way I was going to utilize my, you know, creativity and my artfulness into saving lives. So in a way, in my head was like, you know, killing two birds with one stone. And that's what really pushed me into doing that. Then while I was a physician, I discovered this other world, which was on every physician will publish papers and will do presentations, which presenting is performing. So I found myself really at ease and very comfortable in the performances. When you're presenting, you're selling what your science is telling you.
Mm-hmm.
And that really was what made me go into, you know, being a doctor.
Was there ever a point during your studies and the pursuit of um, being a doctor that you were like, I don't really know if this is for me?
To be honest with you, no, because, and we talked about some of these prior to this episode, is, you know, when we put our heads into an objective, a goal, we're into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing about whatever you decide to do in life. You need to do kind of. So I'm putting my doctor, glasses on, and I said, you got to make a diagnosis of what you are going to do, what that would entail. Then you're going to be discovering the process, right?
Yeah.
While you're in the
Ding, ding,
process,
ding,
but you
ding.
got to be you got to be, you know, really thoughtful on what it's going to take, because in that process you're going to be sacrificing things and you're going to be gaining things. Going to medical school is not easy. You know, you're going to be sacrificing being the weekends while your friends are going out. You're going to have to be studying and all that, but the rewards is, you know, down the road.
Yeah, I always wish I was one of those people, because you have those rare people that are so smart and gifted. They could spend 6 hours on something that everybody else has to spend 30 hours on, and they're doing things that you wish you could do because they just have that natural ability. But I have two things for you. One, we have a question from Danny in the comments. Says, Dr. P, did or do you do general surgery or specialty?
So both. So before I was trained as a general surgeon, so everything, and then my subspecialty was colorectal surgery, which is a proctologist. And there's a joke about it. I always say that, you know, a proctologist, if you know what that means,
I don't.
you
Can you tell
know,
me?
is, oh, the proctologist is the one that, you know, goes into your butt and take care of your butt problems, you know.
So I didn't know
So,
that
but
word. Thank you for letting me know that. Thank you. I
He
really
played
well,
football.
you're young enough. That's why. But the
He went
joke
to an
is that,
S&P school.
yeah, the joke is that A proctologist has something in common with the plastic surgeon. If you fix, you're gonna make that person smile much better.
Mm,
If
mm,
you know what I mean. If I fix that problem that they're having.
yeah,
Did you
So, but
do
yeah,
you have to
that's a response. A long response to a short question, but that's it.
makes sense. Okay.
does this might okay, and of course we always have people on of so many different talents. So sometimes we always say this might sound like a stupid question, but being a proctologist, you also have to deal with people who have colon cancer, correct? Or may have
Correct.
problems with colon cancer. And so that now that I know what you do, because that tough question I was going to ask is, have you ever been the doctor of a patient and have you ever had that loss of that patient that really hit you and almost, made you stop or just it hit you really hard? And if it did, how did you get over that?
That's a really good
So yeah, that's a very good question in regards to the patient doctor relationship. So
Mhm.
one thing that we learn while we're in medical school and while we are developing our career is to be attached and detached from the emotions that come with that relationship.
one.
Because if you let those emotions take over, so you won't be objective in making decisions that is the best course of action for your patients. So definitely when you lose a patient, it really sticks with you. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, there's always a lesson to be learned in that. And if you don't let your emotions take over, so the next time, hopefully you're gonna be better. But you also have to accept that that's a potential outcome every time you do something like that.
Right. I mean, how difficult is it to do that though? To be attached and to detach. Like for people who let's say there are people who are really emotional and they really get attached. How difficult is it to, you've built this relationship with this, you know, person, and something does happen to them. How hard is it to detach and not take that home?
Yeah, so the best answer to that is to attack that emotion from the get-go. So to prevent you get too attached.
Mm,
And then you are a professional like in any other professions.
mhm.
So the same question could go, it's different, but could go to you as a football player. You can get attached to a team and then all your career wanted to play for that team, but then you have an offer from the rival of that team. Well, you're a professional, so you could say no, but also you're a professional, it's your career.
Yeah.
It's not the clear example, the analogy, but in a way, yeah, the best way to go about it is to be professional. Number one. Number two, develop that sense, and then it's like an exercise. It's like a muscle.
Mhm.
So I've been not doing surgery for quite a while now. So if I go back, that's a question I always have in my mind. Would I be able to do what I was doing before and being detached on that emotion, even though there has to be some emotion because you love what you do, but not. So now that I'm kind of a step back, I'm able to really understand what I was doing, and sometimes it takes you to step back to really understand the greatness of what you were doing, especially if you have passion for it.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And because I know you were like, I don't, the analogy may not make sense. It really does. So early in my career playing football, for example, when I came in as a rookie, I was under the mentality that I'm going to be playing for this team that signed me as a free agent. My career is going to be with them. And that didn't happen. And I remember, when I got cut from the team, it was a really difficult thing to do, because I had invested so much emotion into this team, um, that I'm like, this is where I'm going to be. So when I got cut, it was like, whoa, wait a minute. Fast forward to my last year plan, you learn that this is a business. Like it is a business, and it's almost one of those that like I'm gonna make the most of the time with this team while I'm here. And it's kind of you don't want to be selfish in that way of where like it's about me because it's about the team, but there's almost this guard you have to put up that if I do get cut, or if we do part ways, I'm okay because, as you said, I'm a professional. Whereas now, if I were to go back and play, it would be all strictly business, no emotion attached to it. So I can understand what you're saying in that
This
manner.
is the
Yeah,
part of this is the part of the show I always hate. Cello's a doctor, DeAndre's ex NFL player, and I have toys. Like this is the one where I'm always left out. I'm just some guy who's on the pod. I'm just some guy on the webcam.
but look at the quality on those toys.
Right.
Hey, there's not
Yeah.
just some teddy
I,
bears.
I, I
Look at those.
guarantee if we, all three of us in our professions, you made more money. I spent more than what I made in my profession. So, no, but the reason why I asked that question, and you've answered it, so you don't have to answer it again. But the reason why that question is interesting to me, not that doctors are cold, but I know friends that have been doctors where they ain't emotional about nothing. So it's easy for them. But when I meet someone like you, who I know who's generally a person that cares so much about
Mhm.
everything, so I always wonder about how that works. And I guess you develop just like you would in a lot of professions. I was 20 years in the military. I don't want to kill anybody. I don't want to do things, but there's a switch that you have to learn to switch off. And
Mhm.
both of you know me, I'm a very caring person.
Yeah.
There's a switch you have to switch off when you're working in certain professions. And of course, being a doctor is that. And I guess that also, like you were saying, lends to you being a better physician.
Yeah, and it's all about surviving, like we talked about before. Depending, it doesn't matter what is it that you're doing, but it's about that switch. But again, the key is to have a balance, not
Mhm.
Yeah.
just be careless about it, but not
Mhm.
be too careful about it. It's just a balance, and
Yeah.
that's what makes life so interesting. And another point that I want to make is there's a cultural difference in where you're being raised as a doctor. The Latin
Mhm.
American way and Hispanic way of educating a doctor goes more into that the doctor figure is right to the priest, in that it's not that much of a profession. Sometimes, uh, you have to get paid for what you do, but people feel get paid. It's like people, get surprised when priests get salary. Priests get salaries. They're supposed to do it because for free, but that's a little bit. So in a way, culturally, it's different. Depending on where you're educated as a doctor.
Mm, that makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. What now? Not saying that this was something that turned on. You may have been this way the whole time. I know you heavily got into fitness and being inspirational. Was that while you were a doctor, things that you became inspired while you were doctoring? Has this always been in you? And when was that big turn to where you say, hey, this is something I want to make sure I'm projecting to the masses?
Yeah. So, yeah, I've been always into fitness. I've been
Mhm.
always into sports. My number one sports all my life until 10 years ago was what we call here in America soccer. We call
Football.
around the world football. So, yeah, being in shape was crucial. But also, since I was like 12 years old, I wanted to be fit. There's a element of vanity as well, being from Argentina, being Latin, and from third generation Italian. So that has to do with it, but it's not all that. We talked about the weaknesses, the strength, and all that, and the elements that you can use in order to move forward in what your goals are. So, but to respond to your question, yeah, I always been into fitness. The fact that I became a doctor and I became more knowledgeable and how the physiology. So in other words, if they tell you to do an exercise in a way, I know why they tell you to do it in a way. You can change the wrist, the angles, and you're going to be working different muscles. But also on the flip side, as you get older, you want to prevent injuries. So knowing how everything works, helps a lot and makes you more interested in learning even more. So I hope I responded to your question. I've always
Oh
been
yeah.
a big fan of that. And I use that as inspiration in the sense, again, I've been trying to teach my daughters based on my own example. So if they see me working out consistently, and they see results, and they see me, being careful with what I eat and investing in my health, so then I'm inspired them to do the same. And again, greatness and legacy is all about inspiring who is seeing you. No matter what you
Mhm.
do, fitness, you do medical things, you do acting, you do modeling, you do styling. You style in a way that I have people that look at me in the golf course, and then all of a sudden I have, hey, Cello, look, I look like you. Well, that's the best compliment. So yeah, that's a combination of things, fitness, inspiring, that I would like to see in what I do and inspire others to try to do.
Let me ask you this, Cello. With you being a doctor, knowing how the body works, um, does it make it difficult for you? Like if you were to um, get a personal trainer, for example, let's just say you were like, I'm going to get a personal trainer. Would it make it difficult for you to listen to the personal trainer when they're trying to tell you, hey, this you're doing this exercise and it's working this, and you're like, nah, but it's not really working that? Like, does it make does it make it difficult for you to listen to a personal trainer knowing how the body works?
Well, it's tricky because if I get a personal trainer, it's because I identify that there's something that I need to do better or do that I don't know. So that's the
Mhm.
good thing about it. Now, be sure that I'm going to be challenging that personal trainer, and I'm going to be trying to build credibility for that person. So I can guarantee you that that personal trainer better be very good and knowledgeable on what he or she does in order
Mhm.
to help me. But again, sometimes you're too busy. One of the things that when we talk about the brain emotions connection and how it connects to the body and things like that, one of the things that your body does is to try to get into routines to shortcut whatever you do. That's the main reason, to be in a safety zone. So most of the time, we go to the gym, we make it there, we want to be there, we're consistent, but we're doing all the same routine all over again. So your brain already knows, oh, you're going to be doing abs first. So it's start to cheat and shortcut. That's why you need either to change your routines or get a
Mm.
personal trainer who has more variety of things, for you to shock the system. And that's when you really gain.
Oh,
So,
you
so
don't get two questions in a row. Both of you for a second. I know why you asked that question because it's funny. You used to be in the NFL. He's a doctor.
no,
You this person.
no. I asked it because I'm really am. I really do like to know. Does it make it? Is it a difference? Not is it
It
difference, but does
is.
it make it different for you? Difficult for you to listen to a trainer, knowing how the body works. You know what movements would produce what. Like for me, for example, like I don't know everything about football, and I know that, but I know a lot about the position that I play and why I do what I do. So I will say it makes it difficult if
Saw him bully me.
some random coach came up and
He
was trying to tell me about playing being a defensive back, and it's like
he bullied
uh,
me, y'all.
you can't really tell me,
Y'all saw how he bullied me out of that. Y'all saw how that. No, I think Cello's answer was perfect because
It is.
I used to get asked all the time when I